This episode is brought to you by Prolific, my online training program that gives you a deep dive into productivity, creativity, goal setting, and finding your life's mission. The program has been featured on Lifehacker, Entrepreneur Magazine, and Business Insider. It was created because I have been asked many times how I've been able to produce over 1,000 blog posts, hundreds of podcast episodes, and written over 30 books in a relatively short period of time. Prolific gives you all of my tactics, strategies, and tools. Go to prolificcourse.com if you're interested.
Frank, your expertise is greatly valued. As a speaker, you have many event opportunities. I would be honored to learn, and this was my contact to you recently to set this podcast up, to learn the 7 questions you use as a guide before accepting an invitation. I believe others would benefit from this knowledge as well. Could you kindly share those with us, please?
Yes. When I'm given an opportunity or an invitation, either one, I run it through a grid comprised of 7 questions. Now, I've developed these over the years. I wish I had this 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15, 20. I used to take just about every invitation that came my way. You know, if it fell in my lap, I said yes to it. And the result was I was on the road a lot. But also, as I look back, I realized that a lot of those opportunities did not have the kind of impact I had expected them to have, or I wasn't smart enough to ask the right questions before I said yes to the invite. Or I should say I wasn't wise enough, because you learn this stuff through experience.
Right.
And I came to the place, Brett, where I realized that I could speak to thousands of people without leaving my house through the podcast. One of the podcasts, I have the Insurgents podcast and the Christ is All podcast. And both of those reach thousands of people every single week all over the world. And I realized that if I'm going to go away from my family, go into an airport, then an airplane, and travel, it had better be an opportunity that I'm not going to regret. And so I developed these 7 questions, and here they are. First, I'll give you the categories, and then I'll give you the actual questions. So the first category is spiritual. The second is stress. The third is impact. The fourth is mission. The fifth is cost. The sixth is passion. And the last one is obligation. Okay? All right. So I'll start with spiritual. The question is, do I have a sense of life and peace about it? In other words, do I sense the Holy Spirit's leading to say yes? And one of the ways that we navigate whether or not the Lord is speaking to us, is just not the only way, but it's one of the ways, is if we have the life and the peace. This comes from Romans 8, and I wrote about it in a book entitled Jesus Speaks with Leonard Sweet. The first part of the book is mostly Leonard, and the second part of the book is mostly me, and it's very practical on how you can actually hear and recognize the Lord's voice. And it's very different from what we hear most of the time.
Right.
But it works, and it's valuable. It's what I've learned from experience. So that's the first one. Do I sense peace and life as I consider the question? Is this the Spirit leading me? The second question I ask is it going to increase or decrease stress in my life? So that's a factor involved. The third factor is impact. Will it lead to making a large impact or a small impact? Let me give you a clear-eyed example. If I'm being invited to speak to a group of people in a home and there's only 10 adults in that meeting versus I'm going to speak to 500 people in a conference, well, the impact is going to be different. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to say no to the 10 people in the home, all right? I don't make the decision based on any one of these things. It's a combination, but it's a factor for sure. The next one is mission. Will it move the needle in fulfilling my life's mission? And I'm able to answer this because I'm very clear on my life's mission. I did the work to find that out, to discover that. And I have a whole course called Prolific.
Mhm.
If people are interested, it teaches you how to discern what your life's mission is. So I had to look at that and ask, is the invitation going to move the needle in my life's mission? Let me give you an example. There are ministries that are really geared toward a demographic of Christians that attend liturgical church services and say they're mostly from the ages of 65 and up. Well, let's say a church invited me, say it was maybe a Catholic church or an Orthodox church or an Anglican church, Episcopal church that had that demographic. They invite me to speak to this group, 65 and up. Well, that doesn't really align with my mission. And now there's certainly many people that would fit that mission that, it's within the wheelhouse of what their calling is, but that's not my calling. So that would be a factor. Another one is cost. Let me put it this way. Is it worth my time in dollars? Now, time is a limited commodity. It's a limited resource. Once you use it, you can't get it back. It's gone, right? So time is extremely valuable. And what I do every year is I look at my yearly income and then I divide it in a way where I get I calculate how much an hour of my time is worth in dollars. Okay. So I know what that is. I'm looking at it right now. So then I have to look at the time it's going to take me from the moment I have to prepare to the moment I leave the house, drive to the airport, get on a plane, if I am flying. Sometimes I can drive depending on how far it is, how much time I'm going to be away. Then I come back, and usually when I return from a trip, it's a whole day of decompression. I can't really do much
Oh yeah,
in
definitely.
terms of work, right? I'm losing work on those days because when I am traveling and speaking, for example, I'm not working. So I had to look at the time. Okay, how much is all that going to cost? Is this worth it? So that's just one. Again, it's just one element. It's not all of it. It's not the whole thing, but it's one. Another one is passion. Is my internal response, heck yes? Or is it something less enthusiastic? Well, maybe. And there are some invitations that I have had, and it's like, heck yes. There's others that I'm not sure, right? And then the final one, and I have made decisions solely based on this one, Brett. I can think of two. It's obligation. Do I feel a personal obligation to the person or persons who invited me? Okay. So what I do is I run the opportunity or the invitation through the 7-question grid. And again, I don't weigh it on just one of them. I put them all together because I do think the Spirit leads in conjunction with a lot of these things. I don't believe I'm going to have life and peace if the invitation is way outside my mission. Then again, sometimes the Lord does things very surprising. And I have been in situations where I didn't think it was going to yield much, but it was good that I went because I met one person that has become a longtime friend. And I had no way of knowing that that would happen. See, so there are always those situations and cases, but that's my 7-question grid, sir. You have it. There it is.
All right, I'll have to get the transcription of this and write all those out for myself. I tell you, when I was traveling quite a bit, it hasn't been recent, but over the years, and I had to weigh every one of those factors, and I thought, well, what is this going to cost me with time with my children?
Right.
And that was, I was thinking while you were talking about the time involved, and I kind of surmised years ago, it takes me about a week to prepare, a week to be there if it's an extended conference or something like that. And then for me, it would be a week to recover. So,
Okay.
and I tell you what, it's just been good just to unload some of the busy stuff and be able to say, okay, what specifically am I to be doing? And then one of the things that I looked at years ago for myself when I was going through transformation, I pastored for 25 years. I've been in ministry since actively since I was 30 years old. So looking back on all that, when I started coming out of my pastoral role, one of the things that I noticed was I was moving from what was general to what was specific to my life. And I think one of the things that we can get in a trap of is doing things in a general sense because we have that invitation. And I get a lot of that on social media. And, people still think that I'm in that kind of a role and that kind of a mindset. But when I'm looking at it, I'm saying, okay, what lends itself to me being able to fulfill my purpose, the vision that I carry, or am I going to go there with no passion and just kind of wish I hadn't been there?
Hey guys, this is a postscript just before you head out and we part ways. I've created a bundle of free resources. This would include my other podcasts, the YouTube channel, several free ebooks, free seminars, and other free resources. And you can find all of that at frankviola.com. And if you go to frankviola.com, you will see in the top menu a link that says free stuff. You just click on that and you will be taken to the free resources page. Also, a number of you have asked if you could donate to help defray the costs of the podcasts and also to express appreciation for the value that you've been receiving. You're under no obligation to donate. I don't ask for donations, but should you have it on your heart to do so, you can go to frankviola.us. That's frankviola.us, and that will take you to a donate page. There's 3 different options you can use to donate, all of them simple. Thank you very much, and God bless.